Hey, film friends, I'm Nick Furman. This is Furman on Film, a podcast where we break down movies, occasionally with some of my closest friends and special guests. Oh my gosh, you guys, I've been gone so long. Just doing, summer things, some traveling, a little vacation, a whole lot of work, but I've missed you all very much. And by my count, I owe you like 5 movie reviews. Let's see, 2 superhero flicks, a film everyone thought would be a rom-com that wasn't a rom-com, a rage virus picture with surprising depth, the return of Cronenberg. We could just keep going. So, geez, we better get going. All right, let's start with the one slaying at the box office right now. Marvel's latest entry. Did we finally get a decent Fantastic Four movie? Let's find out. This is Matt Shackman's The Fantastic Four: First Steps. Okay, guys. Well, here we are. Fantastic Four: First Steps. Did we like it? Was it good? Let's just chat about it. A little fireside chat like we would have. Well, that would have been the 1940s, but this is the 1960s. But we're ready. Let's see. Quick plot of this film: a retro-futuristic Fantastic Four must protect Earth and their newborn son named Franklin from the cosmic dangers of Galactus and the Silver Surfer. That's the plot. Theme. I feel like there are some themes here. Like, this isn't a film that utterly lacks depth, but I mean, this movie is, for better or worse, the theme of this film is capital, all caps letters, Family, family. I mean, this movie is about family. So when it comes to that, we're talking about things like sacrifice, priorities, all of those things. But I think the deeper stuff in this movie is, number one, the trolley problem, which is, I guess I'll give you a basic level ethics class. The trolley problem is essentially that, a train's going down the tracks, it's going to hit 5 people. So should we divert it and kill 1 person, or let it go on its path and kill 5? And we get into all these ethical considerations. So do I think that this film, minds that incredibly deeply? No. But I do think it's presented as a trolley problem in this case, whether they should sacrifice Franklin. And I also think it's not really delved into, but in my research, there's the whole idea of tragic necessity, which is really, if you dive into Galactus's character at all in the comics, that's what you find. This person who started as a man named Galen and eventually became one with this sort of sentience of the universe when the new Marvel universe was born, and now, out of necessity and insatiable hunger, has to eat worlds in order to sustain himself. And he wants to kind of stop doing that, and he sees this baby as a kind of an off-ramp for his eternal hunger. So the idea that he's a villain, but he's almost like a tragic villain. But anyway, so I think that those are there thematically. There's littler things about there, but I do think the ideas of family and sacrifice are paramount. Sound design, production, all this sort of stuff. Below the line, I do think that the production design in this movie is dope. You've got this whole retro future thing, which, again, doing a little bit of digging, was kind of a part of the comics at the beginning. I think the first run of Fantastic Four was around JFK. It was 61, something like that. And you're definitely in this time. Ironically, you're in this ask not what you can do, or ask not what your country can do for you kind of thing going on here, in a very real way in this plot. So, yeah. It's a very dope production design. The CGI, I think, it's going to be a mixed bag for people, because we are back to a CGI villain, and we are back to, end battles with big CGI things and intergalactic things. But I will say, for me, I think that the CGI in this film mostly works, particularly when it comes to what I think is the best character of this entire film, the thing that I think works best. There are, in fact, two. One is Sue Storm, and two is Shia LaBeouf, who is the Silver Surfer. I think all of the CGI stuff around the Silver Surfer is actually pretty good, like pretty convincing. And I get it. Galactus is this big monster, and he's got this big drill, and what is he here for, and what is he doing? But it's like it's rendered pretty well. There's some issues of when he kind of comes to, I'm not trying to spoil here. If you don't want to hear anything about the third act of the movie, fast forward. But when he comes to New York City and is like finally kind of shows himself away from his big whatever gear works he's got in mind to eat planets. There's maybe some issues of scale there and representation, but like it plays like a Godzilla flick, honestly, and I didn't hate it. I actually quite liked it. So overall, pretty good stuff. Pros. Things I liked about this movie. Okay, I just got done telling you that the two characters work really, really well. I really do believe that. The Silver Surfer story is cool. It engenders empathy. It's well told. And I really liked it. And Sue Storm is the heart of the movie. It's not only this whole like mommy's rule stuff that's going on, but I mean, Vanessa Kirby is an actress who has her own gravitas around her anyway. But this story, for better, well, not for worse at all, but due to the fact that one of the main characters, I think, sort of shrinks, which we'll get to in a second, she kind of steps up to the plate. So those are the best parts. The other thing is this film starts you in media res, just like Superman did when we didn't talk about Superman yet, and I'll get there. Superman really drops you in media res. In other words, the action is already happening. It doesn't even go into the origin story, right? You don't get any of the Christopher Reeve as like the baby, like lifting the truck from Donner's original Superman, any of that sort of stuff. This movie is almost as exposition free. What it gives you is like a 5-minute kind of old game show, old talk show montage of them getting their powers, going into space, encountering the cosmic dust and all that sort of stuff, and then coming down. So what you have is, and this is certainly what Marvel wanted, was a self-contained thing that did not require you to watch 27 TV shows, including director Matt Shakman's show, WandaVision, which was his previous kind of success, I think. It didn't require you to watch any of that stuff. You could just sort of show up and run. And I think this film does a pretty good job with that. It's sort of interesting because when there's a very quick montage of them encountering, they talk about the Red Giant, they show this monkey. They cast John Malkovich in that role and then cut him out completely. So, when you're talking about expediency, and you see this with Thunderbolts too, I think Marvel has been listening to our critiques of bloated runtime and decided to try and finally do something about that. So I think all those things are to its credit. I always love to see guys like Paul Walter Hauser. In this case, he's the Mole Man. He's awesome. I think that the powers, when they finally do come out of the characters, are actually pretty cool to see. And again, rendered pretty well. And I think your mileage may vary on Joseph Quinn's rendition of Johnny Storm. So if you remember back to Trank's film and some of the other films, the original iterations, you have, in my opinion, a way worse Sue Storm, at least in terms of story arc and, actors. And then, we can talk about Reed Richards in a second, but you actually had Chris Evans, not first as Captain America, but at first as like this quippy, strong, handsome, like rat-a-tat Johnny Storm. Quinn is doing some of that, but he's pulling it back. He's not as wisecracking. And I guess it's going to divide people. It surely has on what I've read and listened to, but I actually kind of liked his rendition of Johnny Storm. He's sharper. He's smarter. He's actually like a key cog in this machine, both in terms of what happens with the Silver Surfer and in terms of like actually showing some genuine intelligence. So it's just a different way of rendering the character. Now, whether that's closer to the comics or not, you guys are going to have to tell me that. I've never read the Fantastic Four comics, but I think Quinn's good. So, look, the cons, well, I didn't name two of the Fantastic Four, right? I didn't talk about Ben, and I didn't talk about Reed. The Ben thing is easy. Well, actually, honestly, both of them, I don't think... I've heard some people say, oh, Pedro Pascal is miscast in this role. Is he? Maybe. Eben Moss-Bachrach is miscast as Ben Grimm. Is he? I don't think so. I think in both cases, this screenplay is not all that compelling. And it's one thing that it's not taking huge swings and risks, which I think Gunn's Superman does a little more of, which is fine, right? We're just trying to throw a fastball down the middle, get some butts and some freaking seats, and make a decent Marvel movie. Fine. Like Thunderbolts takes a lot of swings and kills on it. You can listen to my review on that for that stuff. This one, not so much. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. But I will say that it just doesn't write incredibly compelling character development. So there's such frequent cutting. We don't get sustained dialogue at all. We get snippets. And so, we're trying to build up this empathy for this baby, but we just don't really spend a lot of time with them. We're talking about how close knit they are as a family, but we don't really develop all of them very much. And that's the issue with Ben's character. It has nothing to do with Eben Moss-Bachrach. It has to do with the fact that he is so underwritten, he barely is in the movie. They write him a compelling side story with the great Natasha Lyonne and then all but cut her out of the movie, I would assume. If they only shot that much, then what the hell's wrong with them? You had Natasha Lyonne, right? Like... I think what's more likely is that they shot more and cut more. And if that's the case, then why? So you could get it at like $1.42? I don't know. His story, they try to hint at it in places, but they don't give him enough. Reed, here's the real issue of the movie. The real issue for a lot of people. Some people say, oh, Pascal's miscast. I don't know. He might be, but I don't like his Reed as much, I will say. He, when tasked with being the smartest man in every room, his means of navigating that is to be like heavy and insular and burdened rather than kind of arrogantly brilliant. So again, it's a choice, right? And I think in some cases the writing doesn't do him a lot of favors. But I just don't... I don't always like totally get the way that he is playing the part. And yeah, I think it's a little bit too much tell not show. And it's like, oh, he's the smartest guy. Okay, like show me. Yeah, oh, he looks, so like, ooh, his brow is furrowed. Like, okay, cool. Like, great. Galactus is coming to eat you. Like, can we get a little bit more here? So... and I guess that's my bigger issue. And again, this ties to what I just said about the writing, is that I just don't think that this film is funny enough given the cast. Like I think it's just a little too self-serious. It's like super sincere about family, right? And you have to buy that this Earth 828 is a much more empathetic place than Earth 616, which is ours. Because when people are tasked with sort of altruism and philanthropic things, they respond in a way that I would be utterly shocked if our world would respond, right? So, but I found the film to be extremely sincere and extremely like directed about how it wanted to talk about family, but in so doing it's a little flat. Like I just kind of wanted a little bit more of like a fun space romp, and instead you get this whole like, look how serious this is all the time, like we get it. We like when Galactus comes, we get that it's serious, but you've got Quinn, you've got Eben Moss, you got guys that can cook. So like let the chefs play a little bit. Let's get some humor up in here. So anyway, that's that. Conclusion, despite some flashy powers and some stellar production design, the Fantastic Four first steps never fully takes off. I mean, it gets close. Like I said, the editing undercuts character moments. I think the humor is a little too muted. And for a movie that should be a cosmic joyride, it's just a tad flat and overly earnest for me. So, final score, I gave this a solid 3 out of 5 stars. Upon rewatch, that may climb a little bit. It might be 3.2, maybe even 3.5. It's a fun, perfectly cromulent film. But after Thunderbolts, which I thought was exceptional, and a very good Superman movie, which we will talk about soon, this one was just a little bit beneath it. But I have to say, I do like the stinger. I am excited for Doomsday. I guess I'm going to stay on this Marvel train a little bit longer. So, thanks for hanging out with me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all of that yada yadas. Let me know your comments. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Give me a little bit more comic book lore if you've got it. I'm always interested. Until next time, I'm Nick Furman. This is Furman on Film. Stay tuned. Should I flub that out? I just completely jacked up the conclusion that I wrote on this paper. Why would I write it? I've said it a million times. Can we do it again? Okay. Until next time, I'm Nick Furman. This is Furman on Film. Stay firm, my friends.